Laura here, and today we are going to be doing a reformer workout using the small ball. If you're new to my page, my name is Laura. I'm a certified Pilates instructor and personal trainer, and today I have put together, I feel like, a nice flow. I recently just got back from vacation, so this is going to be my first time touching my reformer after a 10-day vacation, so I feel like it's a great one to work on the foundations. You'll still get a great full body workout, but I also think that it is beginner friendly if you're someone that's new to the reformer. Grab your ball because we're going to be using it at the beginning, and you can start with your headrest up or down. I am on a peak reformer, so I will be giving you the number of springs. When I can remember, I'll tell you the balanced body springs that I use when I teach in group fitness classes. Depending on what reformer you're using at your own home, just listen to your body, choose a tension that feels good to you based off of the exercises that we'll be doing. And headrest up or down for when you're going to be doing your footwork, and start with your footwork springs. I'm going to have 4 springs on. You can do 3 springs or 4 springs, whatever feels good to you. Get those springs situated, and then let's start laying down on our back with that ball between our legs. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with that ball between the inner thighs. I do like mine a little bit closer towards my pelvis than towards my knees. And you're gonna start with your heels onto that foot bar. Once you have your heels gently resting on your foot bar, hands can come down by your side, or they can come to your hips, whichever you prefer. Try to make that sacrum, that tailbone, feel really heavy onto the earth, and we're gonna connect with our breath. I want you to take an inhale to prepare. And then on the exhale, we're gonna squeeze that ball, a little adduction. Exhale. Squeeze that ball gently, and then inhale, we're going to release the ball. Exhale, squeeze the ball. Try to keep those feet in the same position on that foot bar so it's not rotating from your ankles, but it's really coming from those thigh bones, from the ball and socket joint of your hips. As we squeeze the ball, I want that squeezing to mimic what's going on in your center, in your trunk, in your core. So you think that as you inhale, it's expanding, we're making room for our ball. As you exhale, it's a contraction. You're pulling that stomach away from the front of your shirt. Those ribs are knitting together, which is also what's creating that contraction on the ball as well. We're gonna do this for about 3 more times. In 2, we're gonna hold that squeeze on your ball. And then the next time that you find that squeeze on the ball, I want you to hold that squeeze. Place the heels of your hands onto the front of your thigh bones here. And then once you've got the heels of your hands onto your thigh bones, we're gonna go into a C curl. Tuck your chin to your chest, slide those hands forward so they pass your kneecaps. And then from here, slide those hands down your thighs and rest the head, neck, and shoulders down. So there is a little bit of pressure from your hands into your thighs. Exhale, push into those hands to help you slide them forward and C-curl forward. Inhale, take it back down. We still have that mild pressure onto that ball that's helping us to engage our inner thighs and pelvic floor. But I always like to tell my class that it's like you're holding a raw egg. We're not squeezing it so tight that we would break the shell and make that yolk spill everywhere. It's just a gentle hug, the way that you would hug your toddler. We're going to be here for about 3 more times. I like this slow and steady, imagining that I'm peeling up and off the reformer and then back down. And then the next time that you lift the head, neck, and shoulders up, I want you to hold it there. You're going to take your hands to the outside of your hips. Reach a little bit more forward towards your foot bar. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. And then from here, start to pump your hands for your hundreds. We inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now at this point, if you would like to, you can float your feet off of the foot bar. And then you can also straighten your legs over the foot bar, whatever feels good to you. We still have that hug on that ball, and if you would like to, you can add a pump onto that ball as well. So you pump and pump with those legs, pump with those hands. Remember that your hundreds is 10 full breaths. We want to feel that lower back anchored onto the mat to help us to curl the shoulder blades up and forward. If you ever need to, you can bring those legs back onto tabletop, or you can rest them back onto that foot bar to exaggerate your C-curl. Sometimes I feel like when I want to get more out of my upper belly, I rest my feet down so I can curl forward a little bit more. So do what feels good to you. I'm gonna go 2 more breaths. And after that last exhale, rest the feet down, heels onto that foot bar, hands down by your side. And then from here, we'll go into our footwork. So flex the feet like you have them up against a plane of glass. Reach those hands long along the reformer, and then take a big inhale to prepare your movement. Exhale, press through the heels and push your carriage all the way on out. Resist yourself back in and home. If you need to adjust your feet or adjust your ball to make room for that extension of your legs, go ahead and do so. You press out and then resist back in. You're gonna feel like that tailbone is heavy onto your mat. I'd like to have a neutral spine here, which means there is a little bit of space in my lower back so that my spine has that natural S curve to it. Palms pressing down and my shoulders trying to spread open. We're gonna be here for about 2 more times. And then I want you to meet me in that halfway position. So the next time you press out, we come in only halfway. We'll pulse through our hips, pulse through that carriage. So we go a little up, little down, little up, little down. Be mindful of your neck. We want to have a lengthened neck here. So notice if you were kind of trying to look backwards, see if you can elongate the back of your skull along your headrest. We're going to be here for 3, 2, 1. Press out all the way. And then when you come back in and home, we're gonna switch to the arches. Arches go onto that foot bar. If that ball is ever bothering you, you can always put it to the side at any point. That's an option. We're on our arches, bird on a perch position. You press out, curl the toes over, curl the heels under, find that length through the front of the hips, and then resist yourself back in. Press out on the exhale, and then inhale, come back in. I find that the breath is a tool, not a rule, depending on who you train from. It can go either way. For me, I like that exhale as I press out and away because it correlates a little bit more to what I would do on the gym floor. We're gonna go for 2 more times. And this time when we come into that halfway hold position, we're gonna do something a little bit different. Coming in halfway, I want you to hold it. You find that kind of 90-degree position through your hips like you're holding a squat. And then from here, we're gonna do those ball squeezes again. Exhale, squeeze, inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze, inhale, open. So it's not a quick pulse, pulse, pulse. We're once again connecting to our breath and making our body movement match our breath cadence. I like that because it creates a little bit more time under tension. I feel like I get a little bit more work that way. But of course, if you want to do the faster pumps, you can do that as well. We're going to be here for 3. Make sure those feet aren't rotating. You want this to come from your inner thighs. And then once you finish your last one, feet in neutral, knees in neutral, press yourself all the way out, cleanse it out, find that length through your hips, resist back in. Next, we're going to come onto our toes. Your tippy toes are going to slide on, press all the way out. Once you're at this out position, this is when I like to tell my clients to lift their heels up. And then try to keep your heels up as you bring the carriage right back in. Equal pressure, big toe, pinky toe, press away. You're in that releve position, and then resist right back in and home. Now this is the one where it tends to get a little bit more tricky with the ball for most people. I want you to try to keep that ball as still as stable as possible. That's gonna let you know that your right and left leg are working evenly. Since we're incorporating a little bit more of that ankle stability and lower leg strength, this is just when I see people getting a little bit more wiggly. You want to, or you can take your hands onto your hips as well, making sure the hips are facing upwards. I like to try to find that bony hip bone prominence and make sure that they're pointing towards the sky, helping me find that sacrum anchored onto the mat. So we're not moving from that posterior to anterior tilt. We're gonna go for 2 more times. And on our last time, we're gonna hold it with the legs all the way straight. Once the legs are straight here, we're isolating that lower body movement. Lower the heels down, and then lift the heels up. Lower the heels down, and then lift the heels up. Equal pressure, big toe to pinky toe. I'm in a neutral position here, especially because we have that ball. We're gonna be here for 3. In 2, we're gonna bring the carriage all the way back in. And then the next time our heels are up, hold it up, and then bring that carriage in. Take the ball into your hands now, drape your legs over the foot bar. Now, if your foot bar is locked in, I find it to be a little bit nicer, a little bit easier. Mine is not locked in, so I have to make sure that my form is tip-top. We're gonna take that ball upwards towards the sky, legs just lightly resting onto that foot bar, your roll-ups. Tuck your chin to your chest, exhale, roll yourself forward and up. I like to try to reach my ball forward in front of me as my nose tries to reach forward to my knees. Then restack your spine to a flat back and roll yourself down with control. We roll down bone by bone by bone. And then we're going to do that again. If you would like to, you can make this a little bit more like a teaser prep. So your legs are straight, chin to chest, roll it forward. If your legs are straight, you're going to reach that ball to your toes. And then you're going to round yourself back down, bone by bone by bone. And then another option, if you're trying to make this super hard, you can lift your legs up so they're floating. And it's kind of like your teaser. You tuck your chin to your chest, you roll yourself up, reaching forward to your toes. And then you resist yourself back down. But like I said, I just got back from vacation, so I'm being nice to myself. I'm gonna let my legs kind of just hang onto that foot bar. And then I can really focus on the articulation of my spine. And for me, it'll take a little bit more work out of my hip flexors because I need to get that strength back in. You don't always have to take the harder variation. Sometimes by taking it a step back, or maybe even 2 steps back in my case, you get a little bit more work out of it because you can focus on the integrity of the movement. We're going to go for 2 more times. And then on the last time, you're going to hold in that rolled up position. When you roll up, I want you to hold it at the top. Round yourself about halfway backwards. And then from here, you can have a deep hug onto that foot bar, or you can keep that tabletop-ish position. Lift the ball up to the sky, and then bring it back down to your knees. Lift it up to the sky, and then bring it back down to your knees. Now, if your foot bar is locked in place, I think it's nice because you can really hug onto the bar. You'll notice that mine, it moves. So I still have to be working here even though my legs are resting. We're here for 3. You also have the option to lift those legs fully up in tabletop. 2. On the last one, we're going to hold the ball up, diagonal chops. You're going to chop that ball to the corner, lift it back up, chop that ball to the corner, lift it back up. We alternate from side to side. Try to keep your hips even. Think of this like a Russian twist from a traditional workout. Traditional strength, I should say. We're not in traditional Pilates, if you can tell. One more to the right, one more to the left. Hold it in the center. Keep that ball either to the sky or easier to the wall in front of you. Lift your right leg to tabletop if it's not already there. Lift your left leg to tabletop. We're going to hold this teaser prep. We hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Swing the legs over to the side after 1. When you swing the legs over, we're going to ditch the ball. Ball's going to come over to the side. Put it out of the way. And then you can either switch your springs to 3 springs if you need more support for bridging, or to 2 springs, your choice. Go ahead and take 1 or 2 of your springs off so that you're left with what you like for bridging. Headrest is going to be to the down position, and then we're going to lay down onto our back. Once we're laying down on our back, once again, head to the headrest, shoulders just slightly against those blocks. Heels are about hip width apart. Take your hands upwards towards the sky. Once you've got those feet onto the bar, hands to the sky, we're going to take our bridging. It's kind of like our breathing. If you're familiar with the Cadillac, you're going to bridge your hips up. Your hands are going to come down to the mat. And then bring your hips down. Your hands are going to come upwards towards the sky. And again, bridge up, hands down. And then bring your hips down. Take your hands to come up. We want to try to keep that carriage as steady, as still as possible here. I like to really think about trying to pull my heel bones to my butt bones. So we've got a little bit of an isometric hamstring curl going on. Now that hug that we did on the ball earlier with your stomach, you want to have that sensation in your stomach here as well. That's going to help you to keep your back away from arching by keeping that front body abdominal wall engaged. In 2 more times, we're going to hold our hips upwards towards the ceiling. And then when you hold your hips up to the sky, your hands should be at the mat. Really reach those arms long. See if you can get those bridged hips up a little bit higher while still keeping that length through the front of the stomach. Hamstring curls. Press through the legs, press out that carriage. Pull through the legs and hug the carriage back in and home. Press through the feet, your hips try to stay up high. Feel the back of the legs engage. Pull yourself back in and home. Open up your chest by pressing the palms down. And as the palms press down, think about trying to press wide ways as well. We're going to be here for 2 more times. And on our last time, we're going to hold that carriage to the in position. Once that carriage is in, hip pulses, we're going to press up. Little down, then up. As you press up, think about trying to stretch your knees forward. We're here for 3. In 2, we hold our bridge. Next time we're up, hold that bridge. Reset it. Make sure that carriage is in. Now from here, see if you can make your rib cage heavy. Your ribs come down. Your middle back comes down. Your lower back comes down. And then that pelvis finally rests down. Once you're done here, drape those legs over the foot bar. Hands come upwards towards the ceiling. And then let's roll up 1 time. Rolling up. 1 time, we're going to swing those legs over to the side. And then once those legs are over to the side, we're going to take off so that we have 1 spring. When I do this in my group classes on the balanced body equipment, I have 1 red spring. We're going to go into a standing lunge series. Left leg, or I'm on the right side of my carriage, so my left leg is going to come up against the foot bar, up against the shoulder block. Once you have the toes tucked up against the shoulder blocks and your standing leg just outside of the carriage, you don't want it touching here. Take your hands either onto your hips, or you can steady yourself with 1 hand onto that foot bar, whichever feels better to you. Going into our floor lunges, we're going to bend your standing leg as that carriage goes backwards. You find kind of like an Eve's lunge shape, finding that stretch in your hip flexor, and then bring your carriage all the way back in and home. Carriage goes back. You squat, lunge through that right leg, and then bring the carriage back in and home. I do like to start with my hands on my hips, trying to keep my pelvis level. So a lot of times when we go into that unilateral work, sometimes people have the tendency to hike their hip up. So notice where that hand placement is, especially if you have a mirror. See if you can try to get the top creases of your hips to be even with one another, and then find your lunge from there. It's a single leg balancing type of exercise. So this is one of the reasons why I wouldn't consider this beginner. And you have that option to take your hand onto that foot bar if you need assistance with that balance. If you notice that you're wiggling a lot over in space, have your hand there for a little bit of support so you can get more out of the exercise. So you can keep that footprint connected to the ground. That footprint is going to help you get connected a little bit more into that glute and thigh work here. So remember, sometimes take it that step back so you can get more out of the exercise. In 2 more times, we're going to hold our lunge. And then on our last time, we'll hold the lunge. Left hand or inside hand can come onto that foot bar if you need it. We're going to scooter the back leg. So now just the back leg is moving. You have that right leg staying in space. My standing leg is staying in space here. My back is lengthened here, flat back. We're going to be here for 3. Last 2. And then after 1, hold it, sink a little bit deeper, press yourself all the way back in and up. Once we come up, we're going to turn to face the headrest side. And once we're facing that headrest side, we're going to come onto a seat onto our reformer. Legs going through the shoulder blocks. I know this as seated chest expansion. We're going to go ahead and take your hands into either the long or short loops, whatever feels good to you. Take your hands to the outside of the carriage. I actually am going to go up a little bit higher. I'm feeling good today. Once you have your hands to the outside of your carriage, see if you can sit your back up a little bit taller, like you're up against the backrest of a chair. Take an inhale to prepare, and then exhale, press your hands backwards towards the foot bar, and then resist yourself back forward, trying to keep that spine long. Now, if you are on a balanced body machine and you notice that you're in the long loops and the red is still feeling really heavy, you can drop down to a blue. That's an option. I kind of have like a mixed bag of springs on my reformer. So I have 2 garrote springs also on my carriage. So I am on one of my garrote springs here. I want you to think about trying to reach your fingertips down to the ground as you press back. Trying to stretch your skull upwards towards the sky. I press my legs down to help me grow my spine tall. We're going to be here for about 2 more times. And then after your last one, I am going to bump into my longer loops here. You're going to hold your hands back towards the foot bar. Try to reach those hands even longer towards the ground. And it's kind of like a windshield wiper. Keep the carriage steady and lift your hands up towards the sky. And then bring the hands back down. I'm aiming for a letter T. Hands come up, carriage stay steady, sit up a little bit taller. Hands back, come back down to the frame. You should feel this in the back of your arms and the back of your shoulders. We're working that shoulder blade scaption, so elevation, depression. Two more times here. We're going to hold the hands up into a letter T. Once you're up in that letter T, it's a shoulder blade squeeze. Pull back an inch, forward, back an inch, forward. Sometimes turning the palms forward instead of back tends to be a little bit nicer on the shoulder. So you do you. We're here for 3, 2, and then after 1, take the hands forward to your toes. I like to grab onto my ankles or even the pegs or the blocks to stretch my back. Once you finish that stretch of your spine, restack back up, find the arms to 90 degrees. Once you have that 90-degree shape, you're gonna lean back, flat back hinge, and then bring yourself back up. So we've got those arms, 90-degree, elbows in line with shoulders. Inhale back, and then exhale, bring it back up tall. So a little traditional exercise prep for that rowing too, flat back rowing. You want your spine to be lengthened flat like a plank position, so there's no arching in your spine as you lean back. Keep hugging that stomach, that rib cage in, just like how we started class with that ball, that breathing exercise. In 2 more times, we're going to hold that hinge to the backside. And then the next time that we find that hinge, I want you to hold your hinge. Open the hands forward onto a shelf for your bicep curl, and then exhale, curl it back in. Forward onto a shelf, and then exhale, curl it back in. Long loops lighter, short loops heavier. You choose what feels good to you. We're here for 3 more times. Into, we're gonna hold that bicep curl. And then the next time we're in that bicep curl, we end with the prayer pulses. We pulse up and pulse up. Whew. These ones I love. I love that feeling of that strength, that heat in my biceps and my delt. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Stretch the hands forward. Reach forward to your legs, to your pegs, to your blocks, whichever feels better. And then once you finish that stretch of your spine, hang up those longer loops onto your pegs and step off to the side. Opposite side for our second set of lunges. We're going to take our right leg or your opposite leg now up against the shoulder block. My left leg is the one that's standing beside the reformer. Remember, a little bit of space, so you're working that single leg balance. Now this side is my hip surgery side, so I really have to be cognizant of not hiking up. That's going to be working your back if you have that hip hike. So depress the hip, make sure that you're even on both sides, and we can go into our lunge. Press it back into your lunge, resist it back in and up. Form is everything. You have a slight lean with that upper body as you press the carriage backwards. That's going to help to keep you away from arching that lower back, but also help you to keep that front leg loaded. Try to keep that chest open. As a reminder, you have the option to take your inside hand onto the foot bar should you need it to help you with balance. I like to think about having all 4 corners of my footprint connected onto the floor. We have 2 more times here. And on your last time, if you need to, you can take your hand onto the foot bar to hold. We bend the knee in for our scooter and then press it out. You want to feel your booty as you press. Think about pressing into that block from your heel, and that will help you to find that hip extension, that glute contraction. We're here for 3. Last 2. And then after 1, bring your carriage all the way back in, stand it back up. Once we have it in, you're going to take a seat onto your carriage, crisscross applesauce. Once you've got that crisscross applesauce position, you'll grab onto your loops. Once again, we're still on the same spring tension here. I'm on that 1 grot spring. You can be on the 1 red, you can be on the 1 blue. Seated up tall, elbows in by your side. From here, we're gonna go into our serve the platter. Press forward and out towards the mirror in front of you. Resist back in. I actually don't even have a mirror in front of me, so I don't know why I cued mirror. I think it's probably because in the group classes that I teach, this is usually where the mirror is. As you're sitting in this crisscross position, really try to open up the knees. It is an external rotation of your hips, so you do get to stretch your hips after that leg work that we did. We're here for 2 more times. And on your last time, I want you to hold your hands forward. Once they're forward towards that foot bar, turn the palms to face inside, hug a tree. Inhale, open. Sit up a little bit taller. Exhale, close those hands. That breath is going to help you to get connected a little bit more into that abdominal wall as well. You want to make this movement come from your shoulder blades and not just your arms, not just your chest. If you notice any tension in your neck, you might have to drop down in tension, or you might have to drop those hands a little bit lower. We're aiming to hug in line with our chest bone, in line with your sternum. After your next hug, we're going to return our hands back in towards the serve. And if you're seated crisscross, we're going to go ahead and switch the cross of our legs. Once you've switched the cross of your legs, we'll come forward with those hands and go into our overhead raise. Bend the elbows wide like a field goal. Exhale, press the hands up to the sky. Bend the elbows wide like a field goal. Exhale, press up. There's a little bit of a lean through that upper body, but we're not rounded. So every time I lean forward, I actually try to think about pressing my chest bone forward, like I'm trying to get my boobs onto my foot bar. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that word on a YouTube channel, so we'll see what happens here. 2 more times. And on your last time, we're gonna end with those arms straight going into shaving. Thumbs together, pointer finger together. Take the hands back behind your head. Now, I like my shaving with my elbows wide. That helps me to get into my back a little bit more. Press the hands upwards towards the sky. Wide elbows, hands come behind your head to the base of your skull. Exhale, press upwards towards the ceiling. Still trying to keep that back flat. I lengthen my lower back, hug my stomach off of my thighs. We've got 2 more times here. And then open the hands out wide. Once your hands open wide, you're gonna hang up your loops. Add on a second spring here just to stabilize that carriage a little bit more. I'm gonna go with my second grot spring that I have on here, but you can also go 2 reds or a red and a blue if you're on a balanced body. And then we're gonna lay down onto our backside. Once you're laying down onto your backside, head to the headrests. Even up that pelvis onto the mat beneath you. Hug both your knees into your chest, lift the head, neck, and shoulders up. And we're here for our series of 5. Take one leg into your hands as the other leg extends. And then we'll switch legs and switch legs. That knee comes in towards your same side armpit. As you hug in, you're trying to curl forward a little bit more towards your foot bar. We'll go 1 more each leg. And then we'll hug both your shin bones in, double leg stretch. Both legs out, arms go out, and then circle. Inhale out, back is flat, and circle. I like to have a moment of pause just to have that form check, and then circle. We'll go 3 more times. Every time you reach back, try to stay lifted with your chest. Of course, you can rest your head down if your neck is getting tired. And then on your last one, hug it in. Reach your right leg up, reach your left leg forward. Find that bend through the elbow, soft shoulders, and then switch. And switch. Straight leg scissors, pointed toes. Unless you want a deeper stretch with your hamstring, you can flex the foot. Try not to touch the foot bar that's in front of you. We'll go for 4, 3, in 2, we've got both legs going up to the sky. And then once you've got both legs up to the sky, take your hands behind your head, look at those shins, and then from here, inhale the legs down for your double leg lift lowers. Exhale, lift the legs up. Inhale the legs down. Exhale, lift the legs up. This is where I can really feel my vacation because my stomach is working. We're here for 3. If you need to, you can bend your knees. That's going to help to keep your back away from arching. And once you finish your last one, bend the knees in. I'm going to rest my feet onto my foot bar. Like I said, sometimes I take it a step back to get more out of it. Rest your head down for a moment if you need to. And we're going to go into our crisscross. So from here, lift up to one corner and then take it down. Lift up to the opposite corner and then take it down. You can stay with your feet onto the foot bar, or you can bring it up into a tabletop position. I feel like my hip flexors are ready for that now. And then when you're ready to take this into your full crisscross, you reach one leg out. If you don't need to take your head down in between, then you just keep your head up and you twist and twist. We're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest the feet down, rest your head down, and then let's sway those knees from side to side. Now I did set you up with those 2 springs so that if you wanted to, you can finish up with a little bit of feet and straps on your own. But this is where I am going to leave you for today. So if you're finishing just like how I am, you're going to drape those legs over the foot bar, reach those hands to the sky. Exhale, tuck your chin forward to roll up, taking your feet onto the earth. And we're going to go into a roll down just to finish out. I always like to end standing. So feet to the ground, hands to the sky, tuck your chin to your chest, roll yourself forward and downwards towards the ground. Head is heavy. Shift your weight a little bit more forward to your toes, and then pulse to the ground to stretch your legs. We pulse to stretch. Stretch deeper, stretch deepest, and then when you come back up, tuck that tailbone underneath you, pull the stomach in, restack pelvis, lower back, middle back. When your head comes up, your arms come up. Rotate the palms to face out, and exhale, press the hands down, pull the stomach in. Your hands end at your hips, and you end as your tallest self for the day. Thank you guys so much for taking this class with me. I hope you got a workout. I am sweating over here, so hopefully you are as well. And if you like this class, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you like classes like this, that you would like to see more reformer classes, that you would like to see more of this foundational, steady pace type of class as well. And let me know in the comments what was your favorite part, what you would like to see more of. And if we're not already connected, go ahead and subscribe to this page. Connect with me on Instagram. I love connecting with you and growing my Pilates community, getting to know other teachers, other students all around the world. So hopefully we can get connected, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day, you guys.